Servus Männer, it's Red Bull Germany. Today I am talking to you from a little hill that is very close to the Catholic Cathedral of Erfurt in Thüringen. So you can see this little square down at the foot of the hill. You can see Old Town and the cathedral. And just behind me is the citadel. You can see this wall that is built around the citadel of Erfurt. Alright, so earlier today on this square actually was the big proclamation against the right in Thüringen and in Germany. You could see the usual suspects there. They were not from Erfurt, most of them. They were bussed here with dozens of buses from all over Germany and all over Thüringen. So a very mixed crowd, I would say. Green Party, Social Democrats, the youth organizations of these parties, and also the labor unions were basically busing their members and their friends here to Erfurt to show that you cannot elect somebody that they don't like. And they are in full agreement with Angela Merkel here. If she doesn't like who the people elect or who they vote for, and then when the parliamentarians that those people voted for in the state elections, when they vote for the wrong candidate to be governor of the state, she just calls from South Africa and says, doesn't work this way, you have to redo the election, I'm not pleased. So, and because there was so much outrage that this Liberal Party guy was allowed against the will of Angela Merkel to be governor for a couple of days, or for a couple of hours I should say, then the hysteria is running wild, of course, in Germany. And the old elites from Eastern Germany, but also their buddies like Bodo Ramelow from Western Germany, the old school communists from the West, who never really forgave the East for the reunification with Western Germany and for the peaceful revolution that they had in 1989. They are trying to get back in power. They are grasping once again for undisputed power in Germany, and everybody who stands against socialism and a unity party model of rule is seen as an enemy in their eyes, or by them. So this is what this proclamation, in my ears at least, sounded like when they said that it is not okay to elect somebody that we don't like, even though he's a liberal guy. Before we continue with the video, I really like to thank my subscribers and my patrons. You guys help me immensely to make this kind of content. If you like these videos, like, share and subscribe, and consider making a donation or becoming a patron in order to support my work. And then of course Fridays for Future were there, and I really noticed something interesting also. Each group, be it environmentalists or more old school hippie communists or anti-fascists or whatever, they always tried to make a point that their movement is the actually important one and all the other movements are not so important. But you know, everybody should be Antifa, or everyone should be against climate change, and so on and so on. So they all kind of little bit under the surface, but it was plain to see and hear for everyone who is sensitized to these issues. They tried to hide it a little bit, but it was pretty clear that they tried to basically advertise their own movement to the audience above the other ones. Of course, they wanted to display unity here, that everyone in Germany should be against the right. But you could see and hear clearly that the unity that they proclaim is not so great actually. They are seeing each other as rivals, and I'm sure that their massive egos as well as financial considerations are probably a strong motivator for this rivalry. So as I said, they all want to say because of this, because of that, we should all go our way, and our way is the way forward. So I can just sit back, and it's just a matter of time, I guess, before these left-winged groups will start fighting amongst each other once again. But of course, that is not a big consolation when you see that apparently in public here in Germany, the overwhelming majority that is making political statements in public, at least, is far left now. And this has something to do with the state in which we are, Thüringen, a very leftist state. I mean, where the Communist Party could get the most votes in the state elections. Yeah, it is a rather left-wing state. I talked to some guys from Saxony today, and they said, well, we voted a little differently. Yeah, so the mentality here is apparently a little bit different than in Saxony, for example. But throughout Germany, I would say, the left is absolutely dominating at the moment. The dominant ideology right now, and schools, universities, every social institution, the government, the media, they all reinforce that and amplify this tendency. Remains to be seen how many people then are actually left-winged, or who are just doing that because everyone else is doing it too. But the danger here is, of course, that you indoctrinate little children already, and that what we saw here today is actually giving birth then, or is maybe defining the ideology or the way of thinking of an entire generation. The people that are young now, they see that, and they watch TV, and they go to these government schools, and I see a big risk here actually. But maybe they have to grow up and they have to go to work themselves in order to realize that this system is not working in their favor, that the system is actually working against them, that if they want to have a family here, if they want to live here in peace and enjoy the fruits of their labors, basically, then these parties are not for them. Yeah, they're for other people, not for them. So this big speech, or this big proclamation that was staged here earlier in the afternoon, was not only intended to gain more followers for your own little fringe leftist movement, or for the unions, or for the parties to advertise, but it is also a little bit therapeutic for these left-wingers, I guess, because they notice that throughout Germany, maybe not in the urban centers, and maybe not at the social studies or liberal arts faculties of our nation's universities, maybe not there, but overall in Germany the pendulum starts swinging in the other direction, and it is a little bit a game of reassuring each other and reaffirming that yes, we are a lot of people who are far left, and we are in fact more, and the right-wingers, they're just a minority and we can ignore them. But they're getting more and more, and they might actually not be able to ignore them for so much longer. And you see that in many of our states it is no longer possible to form a coalition without a right-wing party, and in the future it will get harder and harder. So they're actually afraid, and they have to basically tell each other that it's all right and everything will be okay. So it is a little bit kumbaya singing, therapeutic session for these left-wingers, who are a lot of people when you see them on this square, a couple of thousands of people, sure, from all over Germany and all over the state. They were being bussed here by their organizations, by the unions and by the parties, and I think that they are actually afraid, and deep down inside they know that their days in which they were in this powerful and all-defining, mighty position in Germany, these days are numbered. And maybe they feel that, maybe they don't really consciously know that, but maybe it's just a feeling, that the pendulum swings in the other direction, and sooner or later they will have to really make alliances or coalitions or just work with a right-wing party on some issue or another. But the days where a right-wing party can be completely excluded from political discourse and parliamentary work, these days are probably over very soon. Of course, I don't have a crystal ball, I don't know that, but I felt this a little bit, or I thought I heard tones or a little bit of an undertone in these speeches. Some voices of young ladies cracked at the microphone, and I guess they're a little bit afraid. That was at least my impression. And maybe you see similar things when you see these movements having their big demonstrations in a city near you. Maybe you have the same impression. And yeah, this hysteria and this very aggressive, anti-conservative, anti-patriotic sentiment, or these speeches and this almost intimidation, you might say, it will become more intense the more afraid they get. So I think in this year we will see a lot more of that. We will definitely see a more polarized political landscape, and maybe some accelerationists will see that as a good thing. Cheers and take care. Servus, Kameraden. Wonderful, wonderful. Let's thank our colleague Waldemar from the association Trotsky 68 from Stuttgart. Thank you for your wonderful remarks that I'm sure are historically very interesting. But let us turn to more relevant issues now, maybe, shall we? While I'm sure it is very important for us to always be aware of our roots, I think even our older comrades will have to agree that in the current year we all have to be anti-fascists. Our way is the only way forward to fight against the right. So you should all join your local Antifa group. Bravo, bravo. I really want to express my heartfelt gratitude to our dear comrade Annika from the Antifa. Of course, we can all agree that fascism is very bad because, after all, didn't they use tanks in World War II? And didn't they emit a lot of carbon dioxide with those nasty tanks? No, the real danger, dear comrades, is of course global warming. We only have 5 years left. If we don't all come together in our movement, of course, there will be no future for mankind. So don't waste your time with this political fighting. This is not about politics, it's about science. But so now let's hear from our dear comrade from the local Metal Workers Union. Dear Genosse Bertram, the microphone is all yours.
Thank you. I think I don't have to introduce myself. Everybody knows me here. Clean air and clean water are very important. And this is why it is very good that Angela Merkel is closing down all the factories in Germany. Of course, our workers will all find new jobs in the bureaucracy. They can spy on their neighbors, and many interesting opportunities in a whole new field will arise in the new police state. This working class utopia is only threatened by the evil right-wingers from the AfD. This is why I have to remind you not to waste your time with this stupid environmentalism. Come to our booth from the IG Metall and register today. You can become a member of us and help Angela Merkel to close down all the factories in Germany. But this is perfectly fine for us because we get money and right-wing workers will also lose their jobs. Liebe Genossinnen und Genossen, Dankeschön.